In 1966, Californians sick of Governor Brown, student activism in universities, and LBJ's rotting presidency voted in 33rd Governor of California and future President Ronald Reagan in a total landslide, beating Governor Brown by over 16 points and winning 55 of California's 85 counties. Reagan for his time was considered by many to be a law and order conservative, a conservative that could most importantly get stuff done. But fast forward 59 years back today, in the most recent governorship election in California, that being the one in 2022, we find that Democrat candidate Gavin Newsom won re-election by over 18 points over his Republican candidate Brian Dahle. Which now raises an important question. How did California get so blue? Let's run back to Reagan real quick. His presidency was known for his tough handling of the quote, evil empire, or the Soviet Union. One of his policies regarding the Soviets was a massive defense spending increase, known as the Strategic Defense Initiative, or Star Wars if you're lazy. The policy of giving the military a blank check put pressure on the Soviets to compete against the United States, forcing them to spend more money on their military instead of basic needs, which crippled the Soviets' wallets. Debated whether or not this was the real cause of the Soviets' collapse, but they did eventually, and this left no real need for defense companies to have such massive operations like the ones that operated in Southern California. California was hit with a massive recession, unemployment spiked, and home values fell off the chart, and around 1 million, mostly white middle-class conservatives that worked for these defense jobs, left California for different or more cheaper states. This was the first blow to Republicans in California, but it was far from a death knell. Let's look at the population, the people of California, or more specifically, the demographics of California. After the Hart-Celler Act of 1965, California saw a new wave of Hispanic immigrants that came from Latin America. This, combined with Reagan's immigration amnesty of 1986, led to the Hispanic population of California to skyrocket. So much so that they now lead as the majority racial group in California, according to the 2020 Census Bureau. You may be asking, what does this mean? In politics, certain racial groups prefer certain parties, like how white Americans tend to vote more Republican, or how black Americans tend to vote more Democratic. What party do Hispanics tend to support? As of 2026, according to Gallup polling, over 56% of Hispanics identify as Democrats, showing clear math on how this leads to a Democratic stronghold in California. But let's finish on the final blow to the GOP of California, the death knell that they've barely recovered from. On November 8, 1994, voters passed Prop 187, the quote, Save Our State Act, that would cut federal programs and welfare from illegal immigrants. This passed with an uproaring 59% majority. This seemed like the major victory for the California GOP and Republican Governor Pete Wilson, but it would later be struck down by a judge and would mobilize Hispanics across the state to vote Democratic. This Democratic surge in the coastal metro areas like Los Angeles and the Bay Area, mixed with the already growing tech boom of the 90s, completely erased the Republican Party from most Californian voter ballots. And in 1992, California would go blue for Democrat Bill Clinton and would never vote for a Republican for president since.